From the Rocky Mountains of Colorado to the nation of the Royal Eagle, it's our first international foray in the FMGTC. Hello out there, we're on the air, and it's Grand Touring Race Day today south of the border. It's a sunny but muggy afternoon in the capital of Mexico as we welcome you to the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez for stop number 5 of the 2024 Flowmaster Grand Touring Championship, the TelCel Cinco de Mayo Grand Prix. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, lads of all ages, as we welcome you to the track with live coverage on the North American Sim Racing Network, and from high in the sky in the press box, my name is Trey Wright for the NASRN. 4 races down, 8 to go already, and a quick moving start to the 2024 FMGTC season, and we are live from Mexico City for our first race outside the U.S. this season, and the NASRN's first ever broadcast in Mexico. A chaotic race is on tap today at the 17-turn Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. We are here today for our 5th race of the season, coming off of our last contest at Denver, where Sebastian Palmer and Blake Bavillier took home the wins for GT Le Mans and GT Daytona, respectively, in the Coors Light Denver Grand Prix at the Denver Motorsports Park. We go down to the point standings for each class, starting with GTLM, where Sebastian Palmer won the race a couple of weeks ago, and he sits atop the point standings, 15 points ahead of Zachary Fitzwater. Palmer with 340, Fitzwater with 325. Then Reggie Fogelman rounds out the podium with 320 points and a win. Caleb Rose, Nathan Orman round out your top 5 in GT Le Mans. Then it's Jaden Russell, Riley Sampson, Felipe Santos, Blaze Zebratar, and Skylar Taylor rounding out the top 10. Then in GT Daytona, the points battle is deadlocked between Dylan Matthews and Connor Monaco, a pair of Mustangs with the points lead. Tied with the points lead. Dylan Matthews edging out Monaco right now with 1 win. Both of those drivers with 340 points, 40 points back. With 300 of his own is John Stewart in 3rd. Then Dustin Davis is 4th. Blake Bavillier 5th. Bouchard, Lagasse, Nagura, Rodriguez, and Colin Bear round out the top 10 in points. Like we said, we're already a third of the way through the season, and we're starting to see some favorites for the championship come Christmas time at Riverside. Of course, Connor Monaco and Dylan Matthews are definitely the 2 favorites right now in GT Daytona, but they both start relatively deep in the field. Taking a look at the starting spots, Matthews starts last in GT Daytona, and Bouchard, trying to find where that number 21 car is starting. He is starting he's actually starting towards the front. He is starting 5th in the grid for GT Daytona, but it's definitely going to be a difficult race around this difficult course to navigate here that makes up the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. And of course, GT Le Mans down to the wire between Palmer, Fitzwater, Fogelman, and Caleb Rose, who has had a really good stretch over the last couple of weeks. We'll see what he is able to do in that 5 car. Orman falling off a little bit last week, but he starts on the outside of row number 3. And hey, Owen Miles starts on the pole position today for GT Le Mans. But it's definitely going to be a fun championship battle come Christmas time at Riverside. But that is then, and this is now. And it's that time of the broadcast again, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go down trackside and get the most famous words in motorsports to kick off the TelCel Cinco de Mayo Grand Prix in Mexico City.
Drivers, start your engines.
The engines roar to life on the backstretch here at the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez, and we're just moments away from dropping the green flag for today's 50-lap contest. Your starting lineups for both classes on the left-hand side of his screen. It's actually Michelle Gavin, who sits on pole for GT Le Mans in the number 12 Granger Jaguar. Owen Miles is to her outside in the number 59 Exxon Corvette. And going to GT Daytona, they are led to green by the number 16 Castrol GTX Mustang of Ryan Durrani, and to his outside in the number 75 Cower Truckline Inc. Mustang is Juan Rodriguez. Taking a look at the track itself, it's a 17-turn facility with no banking, a very flat course making up AHR, the trouble spots being a kink in turns 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5, and 6 being a hairpin, another kink in turns 12, 13, and 14, and turn 16 being very problematic as well. as the field comes through turns number 17. Getting ready to take the green flag for the 5th race of the season. Happy Cinco de Mayo to everybody in the crowd. Thank you all so much for spending your holiday with us on the North American Sim Racing Network as we get ready to drop the green flag for our first ever race south of the border here on the NASRN. Green flag about to come into the air right about now. Green flag in the air. Andale, andale. Let's go racing in Mexico City. A good jump off the start for Gavinu. A little wide through the corner goes Owen Miles. This is going to be the first trouble spot. Going through this turn number 3, and already Bradley Ream on the outside wall. Same with Reggie Fogelman and Juan Rodriguez, the outside pole sitter, and it's a heavy chaos in GT Daytona. They're stacking up it already as Daniel Voiles is broadside to the rest of the track, and Fogelman gets rear-ended there by a couple of GTD cars. Ryan Durrani, the pole sitter for back-to-back races, junked in the 16. And a chaotic opening lap here at AHR. But Michelle Gavinu comes out of that smelling like a rose. They're already running single and double file through GT Le Mans, going wide through the corner. Here's your last race winner, Seb Palmer. But I think the chaos from that opening lap is enough to make up for an otherwise lackluster race last week at Denver Motorsports Park. But going through turn number 16, people are going to go wide through the corner. We'll stick with this shot. Everybody looks to get through. Dylan Matthews, who also got some contact there on the opening trio of corners. It looks like everybody will get through with ease. Caleb Rose also with damage. Daniel Voiles with a ton of damage as well. But it's Gavinu who will lead lap number 1, and everybody who was involved in that coming down the pit lane. You see the tire tracks, about 8 or 9 cars involved in that opening melee. In case you're just tuning in, you missed a lot as Colin Bear will wheel hop, and he'll hit the outside wall as well. Again, a very flat corner as Caleb Rose will hit it again. It's a similar corner to the final turn at Watkins Glen, where people just wash up into it. And that is going to make or break people's races. Already, a lot of people on the pit lane. 2 of those being, I don't see the 26. But I do see the 75, the outside pole sitter, the 21 of Connor Monaco. I think the 26 still should be out on the track. He did start last, and there is, albeit a beat-up UPS Mustang. But Dylan Matthews still on the racetrack right now. Able to survive the opening lap chaos just a little bit as everybody goes through the corner. Owen Miles nearly knocking off the rear wing. Seb Palmer nearly goes wide as well. Nearly hits it, rather. I'm trying to figure out the new leader in GT Daytona, and I believe it is Dustin Davis in the 72. And now lap traffic already coming into play. Not going to be for the leaders, as Monaco comes out right in front of Dano Georgi. Could create some chaos as Georgi goes wide, opens the door for Nathan Orman. Already a chaotic trio of laps here. For chaotic trio of corners as wide goes Brooke Paquette. And everybody hits that out. Every time everybody hits that outside wall, we're not going to flip to it, but we'll definitely see the replay by now down low. It's Dustin Davis trying to get around Roberto Crown Jr. as Brad Stover in the 66 currently second. Right now, Ryan Durrani was the only car to get knocked out of that first lap melee. He started first, but he's going to finish last. Really tough stretch of races for that 16 team. 66 being held up by the 31. That's going to allow Dustin Davis to pull away just a little bit. And it's a logjam right now in GT Le Mans, except for Michelle Gavinou, who's already opened things up to about a 2-second lead over Dano Georgi. Oh, and it's chaos back in here as a 6 machine going around. That's Logan Williams in the Muscle Milk Jaguar. He's had a really bad couple of races in that Cytomax Jaguar. And he is going to be shuffled back behind GT Daytona cars once again. Tatiana Nagora going 2 wide with Brooke Paquette. Now she'll file it back down to single file. Skylar Taylor going to get a little zesty there in the 45. Don't want to wheel hop that corner. Paquette gets shoved wide by Dylan Matthews. And here comes Mike and App in the 56. But it's Michelle Gavinou with a 3-second lead already over the 84. If she, of course, has the fastest lap right now. Bradley Bavillier also getting caught up in that opening lap chaos. He was about to get lapped by the number 12 machine. Taking a look as that's Daniel Bouchard coming off the pit lane, and this is really going to jumble things up in the point standings, especially for Daytona. Georgi goes wide. Be interesting to see those drivers, especially on older tires, as Nathan Stapleton gets knocked into the outside wall there. A ton of front end damage on that Air Force number 7 Corvette. Now something amiss on the 78 machine, as your Willow Springs winner, Mike Vincent Jr., comes down the pit lane. I don't believe he was caught up in anything, but there is a lot of damage to the 78, so I think he might have gone on the outside wall. And Nathan Stapleton really slow going through turn number 1. Something internal definitely broke on that Corvette, and he's got a long way to go to get around this Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. A lot happening in the opening stretch of this race as Gavinou goes underneath Bavillier. She'll get around the 11. Bavillier nearly get into the quarter panel of that Granger number 12. I think Vincent Jr. went off in turn number 9, I believe that is. The replay down at the bottom of your screen to confirm. But right now, Gavinou with a good lead as everybody continues to come down the pit lane. Now Matt Lagacy with an issue. Oh, and Gavinou hit the outside wall off the corner, but she is good to go. Again, the start of this race really reminding me of the start to many races we see at the Daytona International Speedway. For the 2.4 hours of Daytona, Lagacy coming off the pit lane, had the fastest lap and the fastest pit stop last week, but he has really been struggling. Actually, what am I talking about? He had a 3rd place finish a couple of weeks ago at Denver. But already, lap traffic going to be in front of Michelle Gavinou. She navigates around turn number 3. She's lost a little bit of time. Lost 0.6 of a second to Dano Georgi, going through the lap traffic. Girasato finds himself in the 4th spot. Owen Milestone on the outside pole, relegated back to 5th as they go through the kink. Nathan Norman having to make the pass on the outside of Bavillier for position. Quickly go back to GT Daytona, where Connor Monaco being lapped there by Dustin Davis. And Davis will get around the 21. No, Monaco will fight back. A tight little spot there. Monaco still fighting for the position, but he's going to get lapped there. The top three for Daytona, all underneath a blanket. As Brad Stover trying to make up for that miscalculation at Denver a couple of weeks ago. He's is within striking distance of that 72, and Skylar Taylor, aside from her good run at the start of the 2.4 hours of Daytona, hasn't been able to find that mojo as she tries to get around Connor Monica, who she battled with, and she nearly bodies Connor into that wall. Those two continue to fight as Stapleton finally comes down the pit lane. And Tatiana Nagora blew a clutch 6 and the 43 of Alex Lozano involved in some sort of accident. It's 14 comes down the pit lane. A lot of damage on the back end of Igor Barreto, who was in contention for that win, and John Stewart with damage as well. So a lot to review at the end of this race. Some more tire tracks there coming out of turn number 9 as Reggie Fogelman goes through 10 and 11. Right now, the battle for Daytona heating up. Stover right on the back end of Dustin Davis. It's the battle for 13th on the pylon, but first in the class. Monaco, like we said, down a lap. He is not in this battle right now. Not a good start for Seb Palmer. I believe he was turned around in that opening lap shebang. As the 71 gets lapped there, and a lot of lap traffic right in front of Michelle Gavinou. One of those being the 26 of Dylan Matthews, who's not had a good start to the race. He wasn't involved in the opening lap, but with everybody pitting, they're going too wide in front of the GTLM leader. Gavinou not liking that. They're still too wide. Michelle having to navigate around these cars. She goes a little bit wide off the rumble strips. Still, she's gained time over Dano Georgi, who's now gotten around Logan Alexander. Gavinou trying to dive bomb the 26, but not able to quite get there. Trying to go underneath Dylan Matthews. Still trying to make it work. She'll have the outside lane initially, but she'll have the inside going out of turn number 9. Trying to make it work. She'll have the run, trying to get around the 26. Dylan's still fighting. Oh, a little bit of contact. It sends a 12 wide. But Gavinou able to hold serve and finally get around the 26. And Michelle not too happy. You see that middle finger coming out. Some contact there with the lap down GT Daytona car. Finally able to put a pick between herself and a hard-charging Santa Barbara, California native. Back up in Daytona. Dustin Davis now with a little bit of breathing room. It's shallow at that. Stover just trying to close in on that 72. Go back into here. Georgi able to get around the 26, and he's now within a second and a half of the 12. Trying to save up a little bit of his stuff for we're less than 10 laps away from the first set of pit stops. Remember, 2 sets are on the docket here. It won't be the 1 set like we saw last week at Denver. I will be going to Dover by the time I'm recording this 4 days after the Denver Motorsports Park race went up. We'll be going to Dover this weekend. Friday for the ARCA race, my younger brother Matthew pitting the Rise Motorsports number 31 car in that, and then Sunday going to be going to the Cup race, taking my girlfriend Emily to her first ever race. Shout out the wonderful Emily Cott, my partner in crime here on the North American Sim Racing Network. We have fun here on the NASRN. I know Gavinou having a little bit of fun, but Dano Georgi running some really good laps on that 84. Doesn't have the fastest lap of the race. That still belongs to the 12. We're seeing A 4-second fall off on the tires. We'll see what it is this time by. I think that was just with the fall off was because Dylan Matthews was in the way, but still a 2-second fall off right now. So the tires really starting to go away. In about 7 laps, Gavinu, I imagine, will come in scheduled to put on some fresh BF Goodriches. Flipping back to GTD, where it is still the top 3, a little bit more room than when we last saw Dustin Davis. Davis right now with a 2nd lead over Stover and Skylar Taylor, wanting to have a lead or trying to get around Stover for 2nd. I think she's got a faster car than Brad does. Actually, what am I talking about? Skylar Taylor's not even on the lead lap. She's not even a part of this battle. It took me that long to realize Skylar Taylor's not in GTD, so it's realistically running 1-2 right now. God, I can't believe that. This is why you don't do a race at 9 o'clock at night, guys, when you've been up since 9 in the morning. You know, just college stuff, and so it's just the top 2 pulling away, and that's why Skylar Taylor is relegated back there. It's actually Micah Knapp who is running 3rd right now for GT Daytona. We'll see what the interval is this time by. It doesn't look like it's going to be by much at the stripe. Georgi closed it down by 0.3 of a second, and he is within DRS range. Would be if this was F1. We are at a Formula 1 track. It's not necessarily a Grand Touring track, which is how flat things are. But we will be back at the Grand Touring built tracks. Next race in, God, about almost 2 months until our next race at Mosport, the Tim Hortons Canada Day Classic on June 30th, nearly 2 months. So a lot of time for me to get things kicked off for the Mission Barbecue Cup Series, which sign-ups by the time this will be posted will be on the 8th, if I'm not mistaken. Of May. Or no, the signups will be tonight. I don't know what I'm talking about. The first race I'm recording will be on the 8th, but signups are tonight for the Flowmaster or the Mission Barbecue Cup Series Season 4. A lot of new faces, a lot of old drivers and new drivers, as Paul Foddy once said. The signups tonight at 7 p.m. We'll get things kicked off on May 18th for the Smokies Best Damn Garage Daytona 500. So plenty of races between now and our next FMGTC race. I know Dana Georgi will be returning. I imagine Nathan Orman will be a rookie next season. Owen Miles comes back in the 05. Same with Eric Monaco, who now owns a team, Chevy Power Racing. Zachary Fitzwater, new ride for him this season in the 99. Moving over to NS Racing. He's had the 9 car for the first 3 seasons of MBCS competition. Now he's got 2 9s. A little bit of a Wayne Gretzky story there. Roberto Crown Jr., new livery for him this season. Riley Sampson, WAS champion, will step back into the 24 for Appleseed Racing. Logan Alexander, new team for him. He goes over to Dracoan Racing in the number 58. John Stewart, I know John Andrews is back in the 44, but not John Stewart. Dustin Davis, we'll have to see what he's able to do. Skylar Taylor, driving number 15 for her new team. Brad Stover, I don't know if he's going to be in there. Neither would Blake Pavillier. Micah Knapp, I doubt he'll be in there, but Connor Monaco, we'll see if he'll sign up. Josh Harmon, I imagine he'll sign up for that as well. Nathan Stapleton will be back in the number 97 car for NS Racing. I don't know about Mike Vincent Jr., about him or Jaden Russell, but we know that Juan Rodriguez will be back in the number 48 Utz Brands Ford. Kayla Rose will be piloting number 32. Don't know about Colin Bear or Michael Brown. Brave Zebratar, don't know, but Reggie Fogelman will be in the 12 machine. RF Trackhouse, Igor Barreto, new team owner and driver of the number 13 machine. Daniel Bouchard returns to the 07. Don't know about Brooke Paquette. I don't know about Daniel Voiles. Matt Lagacy will not be driving. And that rounds out the whole field for MBCS, at least. We're about 4 laps away from the opening cycle starting. And the 84 machine of Dano Georgi has clawed his way to nearly a second behind Michelle Gavinou. Gavinou still with the fastest lap, was the first lap. She is trying to hold off a hard-charging 84 before she laps down this 60 machine, and she's got a lot to lap down traffic in front of her. We'll check back in here, and Skylar Taylor has been able to get around Brad Stover. Can she get around this 72 car? Whole field was jumbled up thanks to that opening lap crash, and Dustin Davis looking to be the first driver in any series or in any of the classes, either of the classes, to have 2 wins this season. I know Fogelman was in the running back at Papyrus and at Denver last week. And already, Dano Georgi down the pit lane, so they're coming down a little bit earlier than we anticipated. Georgi coming down. Might turn it into a 3-stop race with how early he came down. The 4 car will stay out. We'll see if Davis stays out. It looks like he did. So cycle opening up a little bit sooner than we anticipated. Trying to find the leaders here. I feel like I'm Ham in Toy Story 2, flipping through the channels, trying to find Al. Right now, Georgia would have to come down at 28 and 42, so it would be a 3-stop race. I don't know what the strategy there is, Cotton. It's a bold one at that. We'll see if Gavinou takes the bait and comes down. She does not. See the 4-tire pit stop there for the 84, 14:28. Right now, the fastest one. No, 13:36 for Mike Vincent Jr. That's a blazing fast 4-tire pit stop. So the 78 with the fastest pit stop right now for GT Le Mans. Right now for Daytona, I don't see anybody with a decent time there. Everybody really just making repairs. We'll have to wait until the first stop to see these guys, these pit crews, really come into action. Brad Stover is down, so I stand corrected. He will take 4 BF Goodrich tires. And he is out and away, 14:92. That's a sub 15-second time. I'd say that's probably going to be the fastest time of the day for Brad Stover. We go back to Michelle Gavinou. It's a dogfight for second in Le Mans. Gavinou right now with a 4-second lead over Nathan Orman. Lagacy goes a little wide to the corner. He's no worse for wear, and I think Gavinou, with the way he came through the corner, she might be coming down. She is. Same with Ormond. We'll see if anybody elects to stay out. They do not right now. So on lap 15, Fitzwater will overcut. And Michelle Gavinou leading the GT Le Mans cars down the pit lane in that number 12 Granger Jaguar. It's a very long pit lane there. Pit road speed 40 mile an hour, or about 60 kilometer, but she finally comes down. And it's feeding time for Le Mans. Miles is down, Sato is down, the 2 machine is down. Everybody's pretty much down. So that's scheduled for GTLM. 4 tires, we'll see what the pit time is. 14:42, 14:28. 14:28 right now. What did we say the 78 was? 78 we saw at a really good pit time. 13:36. I think he might have been repairing damage. It might have only taken 2 tires there actually. So 14:28 looks to be the time to beat right now, and both Santos and Georgia got it. We'll double check after the race to make sure it was a 4-tire pit stop for the 78. But nonetheless, we'll see where Zachary Fitzwater comes down, but we'll see where Daytona comes out. Michael Brown is down the pit lane. Same with Titan Nicholas, 14:92. Another really good pit stop there. Brad Stover, what did we say he was at? Should probably write these down instead of just the numbers. Stover, we said when he came out. 14:92. So 14:92 for GT Daytona. And of course, Nicholas matched that. So at the 66 and the 88 with the fastest time. We'll double check things, but of course that could all go out the window on the money stop. But right now it is Dano Georgi who has the race lead, and Juan Rodriguez is slow. Some damage on the 75. But Georgi with the undercut leads here at Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. But again, he came in at lap 14, but it looks like everybody is going to be making a 3rd pit stop here today. Some more cars come down the pit lane, working on lap 17 of 50 as the pace really starting to go away here. Of course, we'll check all the pit times at the end, but right now 66 and the 88 are tied for the fastest time. And GT Daytona, we'll see what happened down below to Juan Rodriguez. Not sure where he went around. Lot to review here at the end of the race. Our rollout is going to be a lot, but Gavinou already putting those fresh BF Goodriches to work. Agura Sato right behind her. And as Caleb Rose merges, Michael Brown is going to cut off the 49. They're going to be 3 wide. No, they'll file it back down to 2 wide. But Sato dive bombing the 12, not able to outbrake her. Can he get around her? No, he cannot as Brown goes wide through the corner. So does Owen Miles. Here, he nearly went around there through turn 3. I believe it is Brad Stover who is leading in GT Daytona. It is. Stover getting the undercut as well, so I guess if you're the first one to come down the pit lane, you should be golden, Pony Boy. And just as I say that, Stover goes wide. Same with the 72. as Taylor stuck behind Dustin Davis. As we close in on halfway. There you can hear the 84 downshifting. Georgi leading his first laps this season, if I'm not mistaken. It's been a rough start to the season for the driver of the number 34 in the MBCS and the 84 here in the FMGTC. Logjam going the round, and Felipe Santos will hit the outside wall. Nearly getting clipped there was Ormond. And we caught that accident live, and that comes out and bites you. I think Ormond may have gotten a piece there in the 4. Take another look at it as Santos gets hooked there by the 71, I believe. Oh, Ormond going to the outside, trying to take the long way around. No, he's slow, as Colin Bear will hit the outside wall, reminiscent of his race at Willow Springs. Ormond really slow right now, and I think he may or may not have gotten a significant piece of that. Oh, a little bit of door slamming with Fitzwater. Fitzy is going to be angry about that nonetheless, but Seb Palmer will take advantage, and he will take the 6th spot away from Nathan Ormond. A lot of these drivers at this point are really just doing touch and goes. It's that weird thing in NR when you've got just the right amount of damage, hitting that sweet spot in terms of damage, where you just have to come down the pit lane consistently. But a driver that's really consistent right now is that 84 of Dano Georgi. Last time by 134.90. Lost a second that time, so the fall off already starting to show just a little bit. Here's Zachary Fitzwater. He is coming off, and 5 laps away from the halfway point in a chaotic but still fun to watch TelCel Cinco de Mayo Grand Prix, as John Stewart will body the 84 there. I think they were just able to avoid contact going through turns 4 and 5. A lot of people coming down. Mike Vincent Jr., Jaden Russell, and Colin Bear, who made contact with the outside wall. Some more touch and goes occurring. It'll be curious to see if Nathan Ormond will come down the pit lane this time by. Ormond losing some touch there with Zachary Fitzwater. Fitzy looking for the points lead. But right now, I believe, given where these drivers run, Palmer is in front of Fitzwater right now, so Palmer would, I believe, extend his points lead. Fogelman is a lap down at this point, so he's out of it. Looking at the scoring pylon right now as we try to find the 84. There he is. 3 seconds ahead of Michelle Gavinou, but she is closing fast with a lap or 2 lap fresher tires. It's interesting to see Gavinou in a really good spot like this, where I think she should be the favorite. Georgia is going to have to come down, but it's going to be interesting because they're going to pit with about 7 or 8 laps to go. They came down at lap 15. Well, Georgia came down at 13. An 8-lap fall off, where I think Georgi, if he's able to play his cards right, should be able to make it to the end and be the leader. So Gavinou might have to come down the same lap as Georgi. Oh, and Brooke Paquette going around there. Not sure if she got dumped, and a hard hit for Brooke Paquette. It's going to be right in front of Connor Monaco and the leaders, but she is able to get up and going. Not sure who she was dumped by. I think that may have been some contact with Griffin Lynn, as Brooke Paquette, another one of those drivers who is not having a good start to her season, currently sits down 15th in the point standings. No, and Eric Monaco will come down the pit lane. And something amiss, and there is a lot of damage on that 2 machine. Same with the 64. And Lady Luck has finally caught up to the older Monaco brother. Monaco and Santos caught up in an incident here on lap 21, replayed down at the bottom. As the younger Monaco brother gets squared up with the GTLM leader. Still not letting that go, and that's going to allow Gavinou to close in just a little bit. No. Caleb Rose, lap down car. I tell you, those Daytona cars really sway out on the exit of these corners, and I think they're going to hit the Le Mans cars or just each other half the time. The 2 cars acting as picks make that 1 car between Georgi and Gavinou. Gavinou coming closed in about 7/10 of a second there on Georgi, so the fall off really starting to come alive. But I think if Georgi is able to keep the ship going, he should be good. I think Georgi is in the catbird seat to win right now. Gavinou's got to do something drastic on the money stop. You just don't know. You never know in these kind of situations. Going back to GTD, and is still Brad Stover looking for redemption from pitting late in the Coors Light Grand Prix. He also sits in the catbird seat along with Dustin Davis. Davis looking for his 2nd win of the season. Back up front, still Dano Georgi with Caleb Rose trying to get around him, and I wouldn't blame Caleb Rose for trying to get around. And now the 64 in front of the 12, a couple of Jaguars stalling each other out. Corvette looking to win their 4th race of the year. In fact, it's their 5th race if I'm not mistaken. Palmer won, Fogelman won, Vincent Jr. won. 1, 2, 3, 4. And Orman won. So yeah, Corvette looking to be a perfect 5 for 5. The Jaguars still looking for their first victory. The Mustangs winning 4 out of 5. With Dylan Matthews, Dustin Davis. And trying to find who's the other winner. No, that'd be Daniel Bouchard, who are the 3 Mustang winners. Blake Bavillier, the lone winner for the Vipers. Still, it's still a relatively early season as Bradley Ream comes down. Going wide is Stapleton, trying to pass in the outside lane. Hey, screw your track limits, Formula One. This is pretty much just stock car racing at this point. Stock car racing with 6 gears, so basically just... what's the opposite of diet? I guess Cup Series Max right now. With these Grand Touring cars, making for some really entertaining content here on the NASRN. Closing in on the halfway point through the race. See all the tire marks around this track. Going around, flashing through the field, rather. The 5 and the 64 still in between the 84 and the 12. At the stripe, next time by will be halfway home. At the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez, 184. Flashing through the field, Roberto Crown Jr., glad to see him in the top 10. I believe it's for the first time all season. At the 33, has been in the top 10 for GT Le Mans. Imagine these guys will probably pit in the next 3 or so laps, actually. Again, it's going to be interesting to see how they're able to get things done towards the end of the race. Or if they try to extend it. You know, the max that 12 can go is 32. Max that Georgia can go is 31. Again, love a nice little fuel strategy race here. We always do, as Caleb Rose gets punted out of the way by Felipe Santos. That's going to be right in front of Michelle Gavinou. Those going too wide. Still going too wide. Gavinou looking for a hole. She'll just decide to push the 64 down low. Is not the correct decision. Now trying to get by the 5. We're officially halfway home. Cross flags that time by. Michelle Gavinou trying to get around a couple of lap down Jaguars. She'll take the long way around and she goes wide. Zebra Tar and Sato is going to get around the 12. Zebra Tar not on the lead lap, but Aguirre Sato will pass Gavinou for second. So before any more shenanigans happens, we'll go a full field rundown on the ticker. It's Dano Georgi in the lead for GT Le Mans. Second is Aguirre Sato. Third, Michelle Gavinou trying to get that back. Some contact back in here with some Daytona cars. There is Seb Palmer. We'll actually stay up here with GT Le Mans. So your top 10 right now. The 84, the 12, the 49, Palmer, Fitzwater, Orman, Miles, Crown Jr., Sampson, and the 066 of Brad Stover. That's the 45 of Skylar Taylor, the 72 of Davis, Micah Knapp in the 56, Josh Harmon in the 88, rounding out the top 15, Eric Monaco, Jaden Russell, Mike Vincent Jr. Those are the cars on the lead lap right now. Then it's Caleb Rose, Felipe Santos, Blaze Zebratar, the top 20, top 21. He's populated by Michael Brown. Second half of the field, Reggie Fogelman, Bradley Ream, Daniel Voiles, Daniel Bouchard, Igor Barreto, Matt Lagasse, John Stewart, and the 26 of Dylan Matthews and the 09 of Colin Bear, your top 30. 31st through 36th are the 71 of Logan Alexander, Blake Brevillier, Griffin Lynn, Connor Monaco, Nathan Stapleton, and Brooke Paquette. Those are the cars remaining on the racetrack. Your cars in the garage area right now. 4 out of 5 from GT Daytona. Juan Rodriguez, Tatiana Nogura, Logan Williams, Alex Lozano, and your pole sitter for GT Daytona, the 16 of Ryan Durrani. That is your full field rundown. We're past the halfway point. Skylar Taylor trying to get around this 66. But has not been able to be fast enough to get around that Daytona car. This time by, expect the 84 to come down if he's going to stick to the strategy. Came down to lap 13, and it's been 14 laps since the 84 came down. He is, in fact, going to stay out. Does anybody else stay out? They all do. So the window will officially open for the single stop drivers, or for the lap 14 drivers, or the lap 15 drivers rather. Things will open up next time by, or the time after next time by rather. Flashing through as the 45 nearly went wide through the corner. Davis trying to get around Skylar Taylor right there. Taylor playing the Logan Williams card from the Denver Grand Prix. As we focus in on the 84 going on the back straightaway. But now he'll go onto the back straightaway through turn 7, 8, and 9. The S's for going on to turn number 11 right here. Caleb Rose a little too close for comfort there for the Vodafone Toyota. The Vodafone Jaguar, rather. Back onto the oval. Back straight away as Caleb Rose nearly got punted there by the 64, but Santos will get rear-ended just a little bit there. A love tap from Blaze Zebratar. I mean, the back end's already bent up, but here comes Dano Georgi down the pit lane. Here is where the second set will start. Nathan Orman will come down, same with Roberto Crown Jr. So we're seeing some split strategy. Going down is Georgi. He trundles down the pit lane. We'll focus on the race leader. Riley Sampson will also perform the undercut. Crown Jr.'s pit stall a little bit further back. It's a long way down this real long pit lane there for Nathan Ormond. Dano Georgi, second to final pit stop. Off the jack, 14:39. Not the fastest of the day, but he'll get it done. And he is out and away. Expect Crown Jr. to come off as well. Off the jack is the 4, 14:39. Identical stop for Nathan Orman. He is out. And Brad Stover coming down for Daytona 2. We'll flash back in here. New race leader, Aguirre Sato, with Michelle Gavinou hot on her heels. Wide through the corner goes Santos. Plenty of Daytona action right in front of the Le Mans leaders. They're going wide through the corner, so I imagine these drivers will come down next time by. We'll see what Fitzwater, Palmer, and Miles do. They're the only remaining Daytona cars on the lead lap. Fitzwater will come down this time. So Fitzwater on his own little strategy there, as nobody else appears to be coming down the racetrack that does not have damage, and right in front of Sato. She'll get around Bavillier, not quite. Bavillier will cut off the 12 before sending it a little wide through the corner. But this is going to be a heated battle right here. This is the battle for the GT Le Mans lead to see who will come down before this cycle of pit stops. Coming back there is Georgi, who will flash past the 62. It's not really good strategy for Fitzwater, but I think he just wants a top 10 finish at this point. Given where Palmer's running, I think it'll be better for Fitzwater in the long run there. He'll get ahead of Palmer just given how effective things are undercut-wise. Davis continues to stay out. I don't think Gavinou will get around Sato before this middle cycle. We'll See how things roll. Wide through the corner goes the 11. As Davis finds himself in 7th. Gavinu's definitely coming down this time by, and same with Aguirre Sato. The current GTLM leaders down the pit lane. Palmer, he'll be coming down this time by if he doesn't wreck out with the 06. I think the 59 will be coming down as well. Same with the 56, who's down a lap. And there is Dano Georgi right now going through turn number 13. He is going to have plenty of time to get around these GTLM cars who are still going down on the pit lane. Gavinu just now getting to her stall as Georgi will come around to take the race lead. Georgi zooming by everybody. Sato will come out second. Third is Gavinu. A little late coming out of her box there. We'll see where the 72 comes down, and there is Dustin Davis. Davis trying to find where the 66 is on the track. There is Brad Stover. Oh, it's going to be close. Davis just now getting off the pit lane, but it's 40 mile an hour there for Dusty Davis. Here comes the 66. It's not even going to be that close. And Brad Stover will pass and retake the Daytona lead. So 20 laps to go, and oh no, Seb Palmer with damage on the back end, and I think he got around in turn 3. You'll see the replay down low. I'm not sure if he got hooked or just wheel hopped it through that flat switchback. But a tough break there for the GTLM points leader. And again, that is good for Zachary Fitzwater in the point standings. Trying to find where Fitzy is. Fitzy right now is going to be in contention. 45, Skylar Taylor stayed out, but now she comes down on a really bad overcut. Fitzwater, if something happens to Georgi or Sato, and that is exactly what's going to happen. Georgi tangled up with Matt Lagasse. That's going to bring Aguirre Sato. Georgi is so lucky that Sato was 11 seconds behind because he got caught up there with Matt Lagasse, who was Tonka trucking it through turn 2. But oh boy. Basically on cue there. The 84 losing a lot of ground to the 49. That might come into play later on in this race. Rose will come down the pit lane. Taylor is out rather. Seb Palmer continues to be stricken in the 20. He'll go wide through the corner. 18 laps to go. And no, cars going around. This is 21 to the 88. Some contact there. These guys are going to be merging right in front of the Le Mans leaders. But they're going to have no harm, no foul there. A little bit of a curb hop from the 21. No problem. Oh, Michelle Gavinu nearly took herself out of the race. I thought she was going to go wide enough to hit the quarter panel, but she just barely kept it off the wall and making some contact to the 2 and the 31. Going around is Riley Sampson into the 56. Michael Brown will catch a piece there, and that is going to end the day for Daniel Voiles. Of a replay down low, and Riley Sampson finally getting caught up in this one. It's been a race of attrition here at Mexico City with just how narrow and tight and flat this course is. Everybody's going to get caught up in something sooner or later. But Dano Georgi right now a 5-second lead over Aguirre Sato. But Sato with the 2 lap fresher tires, you know, that incident with Lagasse might be a little bit more effective than we thought. Dustin Davis has the 56 of Micah Knapp with some damage. We'll see a replay down low. Trying to figure out who's third right now for GT Daytona, which it is still Micah Knapp somehow. Brad Stover in a class of his own. A good lord, at least 20-second lead over the 72, so it looks like this might be Brad Stover's race to lose. We said that a couple of weeks ago. Never say never, as Brad Stover, Igor Barreto, looks like he lost the handle on the 14. Some damage there on the Valvoline car, Pontiac. Georgi will go by with ease. That time by still remained a 5.5-second lead as Lagasse gets punted. That's right in front of the 12. Josh Harmon doing a little bit of chrome horning there with Lagasse, and that was right in front of third place in GT Le Mans. Cars going wide. That was Seb Palmer going wide with the 11. Down the pit lane is a 71 here, closing in on 15 laps to go. These drivers still need to do a pit stop, but they are getting really aggressive in the middle of this race here. To that 84 right now. Georgi, we'll see what the interval is this time by, as I think Sato lost a little bit of time there. As Georgi will get around Stapleton at the stripe. I think it's going to be a little bit more than 5 seconds. No, Sato able to close it down by either a second or a half second. So Sato a little bit fast, but he is going to get caught up right behind the 14. Trying to get around here. Flip around this track. Again, this track is only 2 3/4 mile long, so a little bit shorter than Willow Springs. So these lap times of a 1.5 seconds fastest lap, a minute 34. These guys right now running about 1:35 average. Santos will come down. We flip around the track once again. Lagasse and Harmon, who have been playing bumper cars these last 2 laps, still side by side as Fitzwater will get around them. Fitzwater right now in position to take the points lead. Going into our other international race in about 2 months' time. Got a little bit of a summer break here in the Flowmaster Grand Touring Championship before the halfway point race at Mo Sport, a 62-lap race at Canadian Tire. Down the pit lane are the 56 and the 14. But then right after the halfway race, we're off for 2 months for a reason, because 4 days after that race at Mo Sport, it's up to upstate New York for the Firecracker at the Glen, a 68-lap race at one of the most chaotic tracks we go to in NR 2003. And then after that, it's a 1.5-month break before we go to the Old Spice High Endurance Racing Facility for the Old Spice Wisconsin Grand Prix. Then another month after, So Thornton 13 at the Thornton Road Course, our shortest race of the year. After that, it's the Long Island Fall Classic at Bridgehampton on October 18th, 1 day shy of my 22nd birthday. Then it's the Spam Grand Prix of Alabama on Thanksgiving Day, and then finally on Christmas Day, we wrap up the inaugural season of the FMGTC with the California Christmas Classic at the Riverside International Raceway. Been doing some test sessions there, and let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be a fun race. Some more cars coming down the pit lane. They're all off cycle. As we approach, we're past the 1 hour mark through this race. Things are going to get interesting in the closing laps. Georgi, I believe, should have to come down around in the next 5 or so laps. We close in on 10 laps to go in the day's race. Trying to find Dano Georgi. There he is, playing with the 33. Aguirre Sato losing some track time there. It's definitely going to be a fun couple of weeks here on the NASRN, getting things kicked off. Our first race after this down in Daytona Beach, Florida for the Smokies Best Damn Garage Daytona 500. Of course, signups are tonight. I want to reiterate that signups are tonight for the Mission Barbecue Cup Series. Then the first race will be on May 18th. Schedule video will be coming out shortly. Well, schedule video probably will be out after this. But our races here between today and the next FMGTC race are aplenty. In fact, we have 16 races in between Daytona, or in between Mexico City today and Most Sport on the 30th. 16 races, or 15 rather. Or is it 14? 14 actually. Or is it 13? Let's actually count. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 12 races in between now and Most Sport in the FMGTC. There'll be 12 Mission Barbecue Cup Series races for all of you to enjoy. Daytona, Rockingham, Charlotte, Atlanta, Richmond. And the way things are going to work this year, we're going to have off weeks after about every 5 races. But then after that initial off week on June 5th, it's going to be Talladega, Nashville, the first new track on the schedule, Diamond Ridge, Chicagoland, and Willow Springs. Then another off week before we get to the Duncan Week of Speed, where a doubleheader on the 29th at Hillside. Then the race, the Canada Day Classic. Then the race, it's actually on Canada Day and Papyrus. And July 3rd, Craftsman 500 at Boston. And then the Firecracker at the Glen on July 4th. And then on July 5th, it's a Sam Adams Firecracker 400 at Coca-Cola, rounding out the first handful of races here in the MBC. But that is then, and this is now 12 laps to go. And Riley Sampson, it looked like he was caught up in another accident. And Aguirre Sato down the pit lane already, so Sato with the undercut. Sato coming off the pit lane. 14:47. We'll see if that'll bring down any of these other cars. But Sato as Palmer will go around there. I thought that was Georgi who is able to get around Georgi with a 33 right in front of him. Oh boy, Crown Jr. doing a great job with evasive maneuvers. Going around were the 8 and the 20. But now we'll see if Georgi will come down the pit lane. Meanwhile, it's an 18-second gap between the 66 and the 72. Georgi will stay out as the 72 coming down the pit lane. So the money stop happening, and the drivers who were on the normal strategy now flipping to the undercut, and that is going to make things really interesting in the final stages. And it looks like it's going to be a blown motor for the 8 machine. To any more Le Mans cars come down. There's a little bit of oil on the pit lane we're hearing. They'll quickly run out and put some speedy dry on that. Palmer is down. It's been a rough going as Palmer's not going to go back to back. But Dustin Davis will trundle out of pit lane. As the field comes around to take 10 laps to go. Sato is back out. Trying to find this 84, and you got to imagine Dano Georgi, he's got to come down right now. Sato 45 seconds back that last time by, and this has to be the stop. This has to be the lap that Georgi comes down if he wants a chance of winning this race. I think Sato may have fooled everybody by pulling an ultra undercut. But again, I'm not a crew chief. I'm just the commentator. The 84 going wide through the corner. I think that Georgi might stay the course, and he is. He'll take 10 laps to go, and he'll definitely come around next time by. I really think Aguirre Sato may have pulled the strategy of the day. Dustin Davis came down early as well. I mean, Stover is still the race leader for GT Daytona. Trying to find the 72 there. I think we probably passed him because I'm moronic. We did not pass him, so I think Dustin Davis is still trying to log around. As Zachary Fitzwater will do the undercut as well. Right as we find Dustin Davis. Fitzwater will come down. We'll see if anybody else does. Owen Miles will, but he is down the pit lane. Or he's has damage, rather. Fitzwater will come out. Stover will stay out. This has to be the time for the 84 to come down. Trying to get around Connor Monaco here. To let the 33 go around him. Wide through the corner goes Crown Jr. That 84 downshifting a lot, and he's slow through the corner, and I think he should be coming down this time by. He's really slow, and he will. The race leader for GT Le Mans coming down. Gavinu will stay out, so she'll go back to the race lead. We'll see what Orman does. Those 4 drivers, the only ones in contention right now. Orman will stay out, so Gavinu trying to play things to her advantage. We'll see where Sato is. Sato right now on the back straightaway. Georgi still going down to his pit stall. Same with Ormond. Sato right now in the hairpin. This is going to be really close. It's not going to be close for Ormond as he's still having to come down. There is Sato off the jack. It's going to be tight. Sato with a boatload of momentum. It's going to be tight going into turn number 1. Sato. Oh, but Sato with a lot of rear end damage. So I think that's why Aguirre came down. I can't believe I didn't notice that. Oh my god, I can't believe that Aguirre Sato has the damage. That is why he came down. I thought he pulled the strategy of the lifetime there. I honestly can't believe I didn't notice that. Well, now, Brad Stover is down. We saw Dustin Davis flash back. And I think Stover should be good to go, as Stover will come out. Gavinou will stay out, but she has to come down once again. We'll try and find Fitzwater. And he is lost in translation. But right now, Aguirre Sato, that is why he came down. I thought he pulled the Ultra Mega Undercut. But golly, now Sato just trying to baby a lead right now. That's a hard charging 84. Oh, I don't know. Sato may have hit that outside wall. I can't believe that I missed him having damage, but he seems to be running fine out there. Now that time by, he's got a second lead over the 84, but that's because Georgi was held up there by Brown. Now there's no picks. Oh, if Sato is able to pull off this race win, it's going to be a miracle and a half. As Stover is out, and Stover pretty much the odds-on favorite to win the race for GT Daytona at this point. Flipping through the field, I feel like we haven't seen the last of chaos. As Gavinou stays on the track a little slow through the corner, I imagine she will be coming down this time by, and she will. Coming around, Sato is on the back straightaway, and it's not really going to be that big of a contest with how much distance that 12 car needs to cover down pit lane. We're flipping around. Fitzwater currently running in third, as I imagine Skylar Taylor will come down either this time or the next time coming down. Gavinou still coming down the pit lane, flipping through the last set of corners are Sato and Georgi. Gavinou just getting to her pit stall. It's not even going to be that close of a contest. Aguirre Sato will inherit the race lead. Zachary Fitzwater vying for that third spot, that podium position, but Gavinou, did she only take 2 tires there? Gavinou only taking the 2 tires. But here's the battle for the Le Mans lead with 7 laps to go. Georgi a little wide through the corner, but he is trying to get every ounce of muscle he can out of that Oakley Coca-Cola Corvette. Can Sato hold on for 6.5 laps? I just don't know. It's really going to be close here, guys. Making sure nobody else retired from the race, which people did. We saw the accident there about 10 laps ago in turn 16. You know, we're better than Fox Sports, as John Andrews will hit the outside wall. And that'll essentially take him out of really any sort of contention left. Stover with nearly a minute lead over Dustin Davis. So Stover with the undercut rather, but he overshot that corner. Davis right now, it's about a 50-second lead, 45-second lead. It's better than a minute, I suppose, but hey, if Stover overshoots that corner again, all bets are off. But this is the battle that we are focusing on right now with 6 laps to go. Can Sato hold on? Going to be close here in the late stages. Can Dano Georgi get around? It's one thing to pass the car with how flat this course is. It's another thing to pass somebody. It's one thing to get around them. It's another to pass them. Oh, and Georgi a little wide through the corner. That's what Sato needed. Down are Monaco and Colin Bear. A little meaningless drivers in the back is Georgi trying to get every ounce of machinery he can out of that 49. Gavinu 12 seconds back on old tires. So this is ultimately going to be the battle for the race lead. Unless these two take each other out, you can never really count that out. But count them, 5 laps to go. Dano Georgi right on the back end of the 49. Can Sato hold on for the next 5 laps? For the next 7.5 minutes? It's going to be tight going around here. So we flip past. Oh, Zachary Fitzwater. It looks like the Australian might have got bit by the turn 3 wall. And he is going to lose that podium spot to Nathan Orman. That 4th place spot, rather. He'll still have a top 5 finish. I believe that should still put him in the points lead right now. Going back. Sato still with the lead, and you know what? We're going to stay with these GTD or GTLM cars right now. This is not Fox Sports. We are not missing this battle for the end of the race. Georgi does not have a good exit there off of turn number 12. Oh, but he is booking it. He had a real good section through 15 and 16 off of turn 17. 4 to go as they cross under the start-finish line. Gonna be tight. That time by, closing in by 0.2 of a second, and here's the dive bomb. No, tucks back in at the last second. A little wide through the corner. Sato just needing to run a good next couple of laps. He goes a little wide there, but Georgi goes wider. Quickly checking in. 66 is good. We're good. We're Gucci, as the young kids say. 3.5 to go. Georgi right on the back bumper. Sato trying to take this win away. It would be a steal. Hey, he came down the pit lane to repair some damage. Figure, you know what? We'll pit a little bit early, and now as Griffin Lynn goes in between the 49 and the 84. Lynn nearly getting chopped there by Georgi. I'm sitting down right now, but I am bouncing my leg up and down. This is a battle for the ages. Georgi will negate the pick. Coming around to 3 laps to go. It's going to be close. I don't know if they're going to catch up to Dustin Davis in time. What a heartbreak for Dustin Davis. Led the majority of this race, but it looks like it's going to be a 2nd place finish for the 72. Lebanon, Tennessee native. He may still come into play. 3 to go as they cross the stripe. Georgi just trying to get right on the back end. It is really going to be close here. Sato a little wide. Georgi a little wide as well. It's going to be tight. End of this race is really going to be tight here, guys. On the back straightaway for the third to final time. Sato actually putting a little bit of distance between himself and Dano Georgi. Brad Stover, no harm, no foul there, and I think he's probably going to have this race pretty much open and shut. 30-second lead over Dustin Davis, but not really going to come into play here. I think Davis might come into play if Sato is able to catch up to this 72 here in the next 2 laps. There's turn 17, popsicle sticks in the air, 2 laps to go. It's the penultimate lap. And the 84 right on the back end of the 49. Going to the inside. Can he get him? It's going to be a little bit of an edge, and he'll have the run right there through the corner. And Dano Georgi, with 2 laps to go, takes the race lead away from Akira Sato. I think that may have been all of that. And it was a good effort from Sato. Playing with house money, and hey, he's still going to have a second place finish. It's been a great run for Akira Sato, but Dano Georgi has been the dominant car of the afternoon, and he is back out front with a lap and a half to go. Sato already losing a lot of ground there in the 49. I think he's backing off. A lot of tire tracks in the back. And we had another incident going through 10 and 11. Now, can Georgi get around this lap traffic? I think if he gets around Dustin Davis, oh, he goes wide. That corner has been Georgi's Achilles heel all day long. Through 16 and 17 for the penultimate time. White flag in the air. It's the bell lap in Mexico City for Dano Georgi, the dominant car of the afternoon. Brad Stover continuing to lead, an 18-second lead over the 72. This battle happening right in front of here, but Stover about to get lapped by Dano Georgi. Georgi, we saw him be caught up with lap traffic once in this race. Let it happen again. He's got a second lead over Akira Sato. Trying to come around here. If they're able to lap the 72, that is going to lock up the win for Brad Stover. So that is what Dustin Davis is fighting for right now, is to be able to stay on the lead lap so we can fight for this win. Georgi going down to the inside. Oh, some contact between the 72 and the 84. If I'm Dano Georgi, I'm backing off right now. This has been his weakest corner all day long. Some more contact. That'll send the 72 wide. Sato not within striking distance. But that will give the win, essentially, to Brad Stover. Dano Georgi, Sato with one last-ditch effort through the corner, not able to get there in time. Brad Stover will win for GT Daytona, but off turn 17, the dominant car of the afternoon will be the race winner coming off of the final corner. Dano Georgi wins the race in Mexico City, the TelCel Cinco de Mayo Grand Prix. It was a noble effort there at the end from Akira Sato, but it'll come up 0.7 of a second short. Michelle Gavinu will finish off the podium. And Brad Stover will watch the 66 go around before going into our pre-race show. Well, what a race for Dano Georgi, and Hey, Sato was going to run with it until the very end and just needed a not damaged race car there. And the strategy would have paid off. Going around, making sure everybody finishes this race. You know, Stover can really just coast from here. But he's going to run it to the end. Off turn 17. Redemption from last week. No late race pit stop for this man this time off the final corner. Brad Stover will take the victory for GT Daytona. And that will do that. So we take a look at your full race standings. Dano, Georgia, Aguirre-Sato, Michelle Gavinu, your podium for GT Daytona. Ormond and Fitzwater are your top 5. Fitzwater will take the race lead away. And then for GT Daytona, it's Brad Stover, Dustin Davis, and Igor Barreto. Your podiums. So take a look at your full race standings. Jaden Russell, Sebastian Palmer, Daniel Boyles, all those guys down here. Rounding out your field. 33 cars finished the race. Not a lot of them were on the lead lap. But that's going to do it here from the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. Congratulations to both drivers, to Dano Georgi and to the number 66 of Brad Stover for winning the TelCel Cinco de Mayo Grand Prix. And we'll see you in almost 2 months up in the Great White North for the Canada Day Classic on June 30th at Mosport. Thank you again for tuning in to today's coverage of the Flowmaster Grand Touring Championship. Here are your point standings after Race 5 of the FMGTC. And from Mexico City, Mexico, on behalf of the North American Sim Racing Network, my name is Trey Wright. Have a great evening, folks.